Are you having a hard time on Tinder? Well, it's more than likely because of your profile pics. Hey, welcome to Online for Love, your #1 resource for dating by the numbers. Today we're going to be going over an online dating app called Tinder, but we're more specifically going to be talking about how to make your profiles much more successful and swiped right on this app. Before we get into that though, I do need to tell you guys about our Tinder 101 Hub. It consists of 70 plus articles that give you the information needed to master Tinder, and another indispensable necessity is our Tinder opening line formula. Using the Tinder opening line formula, we've discovered that users have received 3 times the response rate that they had before. You can find those necessities in the links in the bio down below, along with our online dating app quiz and more. So in order to make this video a bit easier to comprehend, I've broken it down into these 3 sections. The first of which is why Tinder photos are important, Tinder photo don'ts for guys, and then things that will help your photos. So before I jump into this first section, I did want to ask you guys real quick to be sure you are hitting like and subscribe. Seriously, it really does help push our videos out so that more users can utilize this information from us here at Online for Love. We super duper appreciate it. So this is moving on to number 1 on my list, which is why are Tinder photos super important? Now, if you've utilized Tinder before, this answer should be pretty damn obvious to you as to why Tinder photos are super important. And it's because it's the first thing that's presented to anybody when looking at your profile. And for a ton of people, it's the only criteria when they are looking for a match on Tinder. It seems very superficial, I know, but it's true. This is why it's really important to have well-lit, very sharp Tinder photos, and it should be photos that show every side of you, including your hobbies and interests as well. Your Tinder photos are the best way to create a great impression of yourself and to advertise yourself in the best light. Of course, you want to take Tinder photos where you look relaxed, well-dressed, clean, and everything along the lines of that. But more importantly, after your primary photo, you really should showcase exactly who you are and what you like to do. For example, if you really like animals, you should showcase yourself maybe at a zoo or at a place where you're with your friends' pets or your own pets even. If you like to travel, be sure to post a picture of yourself that looks super adventuristic and you're posting yourself in front of maybe a very popular monument that other people could recognize when looking at your Tinder profile. Taking your Tinder pics and managing them to be the best that they can possibly be should be your #1 priority on Tinder, as again, this is the thing that most people are looking at when they decide to match with you or not. There's also this fun fact as well that the swiping rate between guys and girls is extremely different, where guys swipe right 47% of the time, but girls only swipe right 15% of the time. And I can tell you that 15% of the time is more than likely because the guys know how to set up their photos. So this is going to move me into the next section, but before I jump into that, I did want to tell you guys about our Tinder 101 Hub. Our Tinder 101 Hub consists of 70 plus articles that give you the information needed in order to master Tinder. So if you want to make a great profile, which will result in more matches and more dates, you should definitely check out our Tinder 101 Hub. So this is going to move me into number 2 on my list, which is Tinder photo don'ts for guys. So the first don't I have is to avoid posting only selfies on your profile. Even the CEO of Tinder, Sean Rad, has said that posting selfies is going to be detrimental to your Tinder profile, though he has also said that just posting one selfie can actually be beneficial, but posting more than that is definitely not going to be great for your Tinder profile. A lot of people see selfie photos and it perceives that user as a narcissist, especially if they have only selfies of themselves. To a lot of people, this makes you seem unapproachable and not really fun to talk to. Also, if you have only selfies, it shows that you don't really socialize that much and you don't really know how to showcase the things that you like to do through photos. Now, I'm sure you don't want people psychoanalyzing you based off of your photos on Tinder, but that's just the way it goes. People are going to make judgments very quickly on Tinder, and some of those are subconscious and they're just going to swipe left if they don't think you have a great profile. By uploading photos that are taken by somebody else, you can even show that you are a social person because somebody else took those photos for you, so you're going out with people and living life. The next do not I have to tell for guys is to not hide your face. So a lot of guys think that wearing sunglasses makes them look macho or really cool in their photo, but it actually doesn't, and it means that you're not going to get as many right swipes. And studies have actually shown that if you're wearing sunglasses, your chances of getting swiped right on actually decrease by 15%. And if you're wearing a hat even, your chances decrease by 12%. So you're going to be making sure that you're showing your full face. You want to show people who you are because that's what people want to see. They want to know that they're swiping right on somebody that they know is attractive to them. Taking a nice headshot with some bold body language is a great way to go about this. You just want to make sure that you're showcasing who you are as much as you can with character in these photos so that other people can feel comfortable and actually want to swipe right on you. The next tip for guys is to make sure you're not posting shirtless photos. You want to make sure you're not doing this because it actually comes off as pretty cocky and that turns off a lot of people. You seem kind of arrogant, really into yourself, and a lot of people think that it just means that you want a sexual relationship, which it might be what you're looking for, but at the same time, you don't want to be treating women like they're somebody who you're just going to have sex with and bail. Everybody's a person, right? These are all traits that you really should be wanting to avoid. And another thing too is you want to make sure that you're not posting pictures of you at the gym, flexing, doing all this stuff. Although if you are somebody who does go to the gym a lot and you do want to showcase that, having one photo of you at the gym that's a lot more presentable would be okay. The next do not I have on Tinder is to be very cautious when it does come to group photos. Now there's a few things you want to look at. A lot of people do love hanging out with their friends. Who the heck doesn't? But when you do have photos of all groups, it becomes very confusing and disorienting for people looking at your profile, as they might not actually know which person you are in the Tinder profile. So if you do have a group photo, make sure you only have one, and also make sure that it's not your first photo, as you want to make sure that whoever is going through your photos knows who you are from the get-go. If they can't tell who you are in these photos, then more than likely you're gonna get swiped left on. The next tip I have for do not for guys is to not take photos from bizarre or weird angles. I see a lot of guys who post photos and they just, I guess they just don't know how to take a photo properly. I've seen them like where they take their selfie from down here and you look like a non-tech savvy person who's just discovered a camera. They're not smiling. It's just an unfavorable angle. You really want to avoid doing that. It seems more obvious to some people than to others, but be sure that you're showing your best angle when taking these photos. Another thing you want to avoid as well is to avoid posting old photos of yourself. A lot of guys, maybe they've gained weight, they're out of shape, they feel like they looked a lot better 5 years ago, and so they'll post themselves from 5 years ago. But the thing is, you aren't who you are from 5 years ago. You're who you are today, and it's really important to showcase who you are today. If you do want to better yourself, you should absolutely do that and stop pretending that you're you from 5 years ago. This is going to mislead people, and when you do, or if you do actually meet up for a potential match, it's going to be very awkward and uncomfortable for them because you're not who you said you are. The next tip I have is to avoid any blurry or grainy or just generally bad quality photos. Now this should be pretty obvious, but having just terrible photos on your profile is not going to make somebody want to swipe right on you. If your photo is overly blurry, overly grainy, it's hard to make out what is in the actual photo. People are not going to gamble and take the risk with that, especially free users who only have 100 swipes a day. It's important to note as well that even if your photo is slightly grainy, that when you upload it to Tinder, it does downgrade it, so it will become even more grainy. So make sure that your photos that you're posting are of high quality. And the last tip I have for guys, which is actually a surprising one for a lot of people, is to avoid formal clothing. Studies have shown that for guys who are wearing full suits with a tie in their Tinder profiles actually get swiped right on less than guys who are dressed nicely and casually. You want to seem like somebody who's approachable, somebody who's fun, and somebody who is relaxing to be with. And when guys dress up in full business suits on their Tinder profile, you seem really uptight and stressed. So make sure that you're just being relaxed, being yourself, wearing your comfortable clothing, but you still want to look clean and sharp at the same time. So this is moving me on to number 3 on my list, but before I jump into that, I did want to tell you guys about our Tinder opening line formula. Our secret Tinder opening line formula is an indispensable necessity for any guy who is looking to communicate with people on Tinder. If you don't believe me, well, those who have used the opening line formula have had 3 times response rate than before they have actually used the formula themselves. So if you want to make sure that you aren't left on red anymore, be sure to utilize our Tinder opening line formula. So this is moving me on to number 3 on my list, which are things that will help your photos. The first tip that I have for you is that you want to be sure that you are posting all high quality photos. Seriously, people on Tinder, at least 95% of them are basing their matches off of the photos that are on their Tinder profile. If your photos are not attractive, then you're more than likely going to get swiped left on. So having a low quality photo is going to be really detrimental to your profile. You want to remember that your Tinder profile is only as strong as its weakest photo, so be sure that all your photos are very strong. The next thing that will help you have success with your photos on Tinder is to make sure you are smiling. You want to come across as a very welcoming person and as somebody who's fun to be around. So showing a grumpy face all the time and just looking generally negative is not going to really help your situation. In fact, smiling can actually increase your chances of matching on Tinder by 14%. So if you are smiling in your photos, good on you. You should keep doing that. You also want to make sure that it looks genuine too. You don't want to make it look like you're smiling or posing or being inauthentic, as that can actually result in you getting a left swipe as well. The next tip I have for you for your photos is to utilize smart photos. So smart photos is a feature on Tinder where it will actually test all the photos out between several different matches, and whichever photo that matches tend to swipe right on, it'll put that first. So it rearranges your photos so that the most successful photos are going to be the first photos that show up when they are looking at your profile. And now utilizing smart photos is actually a great thing to do because it has increased people's match rates by 12%. And the last tip I have for your photos is to be sure that you are presenting your personality through your photos. Now, your primary photo, again, should be just a photo of you smiling, looking at the camera so that they can get a good sense of what you look like. But the rest of your photos should showcase your hobbies, what you like to do, maybe what your job is if it's interesting, and things along the lines of that. Now, your Tinder bio is 500 characters and there's not a lot that you can say there, but your photos are worth 1,000 words each. So it's really important to showcase who you are in your photos, as that is going to get you more success on Tinder. Speaking about more success on Tinder, if you wanted to know how to become an expert on Tinder and get matches all over the place, you should definitely check out our Tinder 101 Hub. Our Tinder 101 Hub consists of 70 plus articles that give you the information that's needed to master Tinder. And another indispensable necessity is our Tinder opening line formula. Using the Tinder opening line formula, we've discovered that users have received 3 times the response rate that they had before. You can find those necessities in the links in the bio down below, along with our online dating app quiz and more. If you guys would like to see some more content from us, be sure to check out the videos popping up on my left and right here. And I did want to ask you guys one more time to be sure you are hitting like and subscribe. Seriously, we super duper appreciate it. So we'll catch you guys here next time on Online for Love. See ya.